Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a pretty wild idea from our source material. The concept that the world's great religions might be covered in something called Imperial Rust, a process that twisted them far from what they were originally meant to be. So let's peel back the layers and see what's underneath. I mean, just think about that for a second. What if the very spiritual movements that have shaped our entire world were originally designed for one thing, but ended up being used for something else entirely, something much more worldly? Okay, so to really get this argument, we have to go right back to the beginning. The source tells us that Judaism, Christianity, and Islam all drink from the same theological well. It's one shared story that eventually branches off into three very, very different journeys. And that shared well, it's this idea of a really strict, radical monotheism. But it's not the image you might have of a king sitting on a golden throne. Instead, the texts call this source Ein Sof, an infinite, uncreated reality. Think of it less like a monarch demanding worship, and more like a cosmic architect who designs and builds the entire universe. And that's the core of the original mission, right? You've got one source, one architect, and humanity, well, humanity has a job to do. And that job isn't to just sit around and passively worship. It's to get our hands dirty, to act, to actually help shape and build creation itself. All right, but here's where things start to go sideways. This is where that Imperial Rust starts to creep in. The core argument is that these incredible spiritual movements, one after the other, got hijacked. They were transformed from these paths of personal liberation into tools for managing empires. The source calls this pattern the Constantinian shift. You have this radical spiritual idea designed to empower you, the individual, but then it gets repurposed to control the masses. Suddenly, the goal isn't your spiritual health anymore. It's about stability, conformity, and obedience to the state. So let's look at imperial Christianity. The argument here is that the believer was basically demoted, right? You went from being an active agent to a helpless subject, a child. And the whole goal shifted from fixing this world to just escaping it and getting to heaven. It's actually a brilliant tool for political control, isn't it? If your big reward is in the next life, you're probably not going to make too many waves in this one. Now, what about Islam? The source points to a similar shift, where the central idea becomes total submission. The human becomes an abd, a servant or a slave, and the faith itself morphs into this huge legal bureaucracy. Its main job, to manage a massive, sprawling empire, which means state order becomes way more important than an individual's partnership with God. And then there's Rabbinic Judaism. Here, the trauma of exile and persecution caused this massive defensive turn. The law, which was once seen as armor you'd wear in a cosmic battle for good, it became a cage of preservation. The mission turned inward. It wasn't about repairing the whole world anymore. It was about the crucial but very different goal of just keeping the tribe alive. Okay, so if those were all the wrong turns, what does the source say was the original path? Well, it proposes this restoration project called The Way, and its whole purpose is to dust off that old blueprint that existed before all the rust set in. And the whole thing, absolutely everything, hinges on this one Hebrew word, shutaf. It means coworker. And this just changes the entire game. You're not a helpless subject. You're not a slave waiting for commands. You are a sovereign partner, an authorized deputy, an active agent of the cosmic architect. So what's the job description for a coworker? It's another Hebrew word, tikkun, the great repair. See, the point isn't to get out of here, to escape to some other place. The mission is right here. It's the active physical renovation of our world, to restore it and scrub it clean of chaos and falsehood, what the texts call sheker. And this table just lays it all out so clearly. Look at the difference. On one side, you've got the imperial model. Your identity is a subject, a child, a slave. Your role is passive submission. Your goal is to obey and wait. But then you look at the way. Your identity is a coworker, a shutaf. Your role is active partnership. And your goal? To act and to build. It's a night and day difference. So you might be thinking, this all sounds great in theory, but how does it actually change your day-to-day life? Well, it completely flips the script on ethics. It moves you away from these rigid, top-down rulebooks and gives you a dynamic, internal guidance system instead. Think about it. A rule-based system, which is perfect for managing an empire, only asks one question: is this compliant with the code? It's all about conformity. But a principle-based system, one that's designed for sovereign coworkers, it asks a totally different question. What's the actual result of my action? Does it build things up or does it tear them down? And here's that system in practice. It's called the litmus test. It's just a simple 3-part filter you can run any choice through. First, does it produce emet? Is it transparent? Is it truthful? Second, does it produce shayim? Does it increase vitality in life? And third, does it produce shalom? Does it create real, genuine order and peace, not just quiet submission? And that right there brings us to the absolute heart of this entire argument. The source material basically boils everything we've talked about down to a single, fundamental choice you have to make. And this quote just says it all. The empire demands submission and offers safety. The truth demands sovereignty and offers responsibility. The imperial model makes you a deal. Give up your freedom, submit, and in return, you'll get safety and certainty. The way offers a different deal entirely. Take back your sovereignty, and in return, you get to accept the awesome responsibility of being a co-worker in creation. So the explainer leaves us with this one last, very personal question. In the grand scheme of things, in this massive project of the cosmos, what's your role going to be? Are you here to be a passive subject in a story someone else is writing? Or are you here to be an active co-worker in the great repair?